Hello, welcome back to True Seekers Tea. My name is Kate, and I am thankful to have you here for today's pick a card reading. I know it's been a minute. I apologize for that. I have been very busy in my life outside of filming these readings, but I'm trying to get back on a regular schedule. So thanks for your patience, you guys. So today's reading is going to be the standard, what are your person's current thoughts and feelings towards you? There will be an energy check-in where we're going to see what your thoughts and feelings are towards the person that we're going to be reading into. And that is meant to help you feel more confident that you picked the right pile and that you even want to listen to the reading. Totally understand if you find out who the person is and you're not interested in hearing a reading about them, and that is why I do the energy check-in. So I will have that at the beginning. I will also have extended readings for each pile. It's going to be different depending on what comes through and what it seems Spirit is urging me to go most into further. So without further ado, there are 3 piles to choose from. For pile number 1, we have the Rider-Waite Tarot, or, oh my gosh, the Radiant Tarot. Okay, oh my gosh. So yeah, the Radiant Wise Spirit Tarot. Sorry about that. We have this red carnelian palm stone. And by the way, I always film the intro after I do the piles. And I actually use a red carnelian heart for this pile, but I cannot find it anywhere. So this is going to stand in place of that. Oh my gosh. And also please ignore my nails. I was Alice in Wonderland for Halloween and I just haven't had the chance to remove it, but I'm not a nail polish person. So anyways, okay. For pile number 2, we have the Wandering Moon Tarot with this black obsidian raw crystal. And then for pile number 3, we have the Paws Tarot with this Amazonite crystal. So tune into whatever pile you're feeling drawn to. I suggest that you just go with the one that feels right, almost in your heart. But again, we'll have the energy check-in to help you feel more confident that it is the right reading for you. So I will have the timestamps linked down below. Also, my personal readings are open if you want to book one. I'll have that link in the description box. I will have the extended readings linked on both Vimeo and Gumroad in case you have any trouble with Vimeo. But yeah, other than that, I'll have any other information about the titles of the decks and any information about me. So I will see you at your pile. Hello, pile number 1. Welcome to your reading. We are going to be looking at the person that you have on your mind, their current thoughts and feelings towards you. So this doesn't have to be a love reading. I'm going to leave it pretty open for this. If there are love messages that come through, I would just try to only take on the messages that make sense for your situation. So we are going to be first off doing an energy check-in to see how you are currently thinking and feeling about this person and this connection. And that will serve to help you feel more confident that this is your reading. And also it will help give me some context as to what's going on in this connection. And also that can help you know whether or not this is a reading you want to listen to. So Spirit, please tune me in. Please help me get honest and concise answers that are going to bring pile number 1 clarity. Please help pile number 1 understand what is most important for them to understand for their highest good. All right. So Spirit, from pile number 1's perspective, how are they thinking and feeling about this person? How are they viewing the connection? Anything from their point of view? Okay, we have the 2 of Cups. Also ignore this. I was bitten by a dog. Well, my dog. That's kind of a side note, but I was just breaking up a fight with another dog. My dog is very gentle and kind, but just had a situation. So anyways, okay, so for pile number 1, how are they? Okay, we have the Hangman in reverse. How are they currently thinking and feeling towards this person? We have Temperance, Sagittarius. We have Pisces and Sagittarius energy. Okay, we have the Tower, the Six of Swords. Wow. Okay, can we clarify the Two of Cups? We have the Nine of Pentacles. Can we clarify the Hangman? We have the Wheel of Fortune. Can we clarify Temperance? We have the Eight of Pentacles. Can we clarify the Tower? Five of Cups in reverse. Three of Wands in reverse. Wow. I'm just going to make sure we have everything in view. So what I'm picking up from your energy here is that I feel like this is a connection that's really required you to learn surrender. And I feel like you've learned a lot of lessons through this as well. It's almost like I feel like there has been disappointment here, or there has been unexpected events that I feel you've had to heal from, or that you've been learning lessons through with Temperance. And I feel like something about this connection has required you to, it's almost like you've had to learn how to put one foot in front of the other and focus on yourself, is what I want to say, your own abundance, your own, like, when in doubt, when you can't control relationships, you can't control outcomes. It's almost like in times where things are unexpected or things don't go as we planned, it's almost giving this feeling of you having had to make do with the situation or adapt. It's like you've had to be adaptable in this situation. Because I just feel like there's like a lot of things that are out of your control with the Wheel of Fortune and the Tower. And I feel like however you expected this connection to unfold, I feel that it has not unfolded the way that you expected. I feel that you've had to learn how to keep moving forward and focus on your own life, even though this connection is so important to you, because we have this Two of Cups here that makes me feel like there is a lot of loyalty and love here to this person, and you feel that this is a soulmate connection. But no matter, even if that's true, it still required a lot of surrender. And it almost feels like if you've tried to control anything or force anything, or it just feels like it's one of those connections where you've had to learn to accept the things you can't control and just focus on the things that you can control. Like, I feel like that's how you've been dealing with this connection. And I feel like you may feel like this is a very divine connection. This feels like a connection where there's fate involved. You feel there's fate involved here. And it's just, there's just this surrender and realizing that once you think you've surrender more, because you can never, it's almost like expect the unexpected and don't expect what you expected. Does that make sense? So I don't know if there's been events in this that you had no control over. That's just what I keep getting, is like, it's almost like maybe the situation fell apart and your only choice was to have to just move forward and accept the disappointment, accept the grief, and again, continue to put one foot in front of the other, focus on what you can control, and trust that the universe is doing has an intelligence to it. I feel like this connection has forced you to trust in the universe more, and trust in the sense that you don't know what's going on, but it will shift again. And I feel like you've had to just kind of wait for external circumstances to shift, because without that, it's almost like you could become really stagnant trying to wait for this connection, or trying to, if you're holding, it's almost like you've been forced to change your perspective many times, where I feel like maybe you originally viewed, it's almost like your worldview has had to change through this connection as well, where you're learning deep lessons here, where you're learning about, no matter how intense a connection is, and it almost feels like there's a pull towards losing yourself in this person or losing yourself in this connection. And no matter how much you surrender for another person almost, or no matter how much you give up of yourself, no matter how much you sacrifice, and no matter how strong a connection is, we still have the wheel of fortune, where we still, it's like you could sacrifice everything for something and you could still not get what you want. You could still be met with a tower moment. You could still have to leave it behind or move on, even though the connection is so strong and you would give up anything for it. But I feel like what it's taught you is that if you've been prone to maybe wanting to sacrifice for connection, I feel like this is a situation where you've learned that there has to be a balance point. It's almost like there are no quick fixes to this. This is another, all this is just kind of, I'm just really channeling. So I'm just getting this energy of, I just heard when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. And so, yeah, paradoxically, it's kind of this idea of you can't control an outcome. It's almost funny. So what I'm trying to say is that it's almost like we may sometimes try to create an outcome, maybe for a relationship specifically, and we think that if we sacrifice enough of ourselves, or we make enough sacrifices, or like enough sacrifices to make something work, it's almost like another chariot energy, where the chariot energy is not giving up and trying to persevere through challenges. It's almost like, I've never thought of it this way, but I'm almost seeing the hangman in this situation as that being a sort of tactic, where it's a way that we may try to force an outcome that isn't, that when there are blockages around. So when the chariot is in reverse, it's usually a situation where we can't, because of external blockages, we can't move forward in the way that we wanted to. And it often requires us to change our perspective, or to see, to take a step back and kind of surrender what outcome or what path we were trying to move toward. And that's kind of the solution to that. But what I'm seeing here is like, it's almost like when surrendering for a connection can't can't create victory, is almost what has been happening here. And so it's almost like, you've been forced to see how surrendering more of yourself and making more accommodations for another person because you love them eventually is not going to work either, because it's not being built step by step with temperance energy. It's almost like you're learning that things need to be built a certain way, and there are no shortcuts. And so maybe this is something around, maybe this group has been prone to finding identity in relationship, or finding their worth through relationship. So maybe it's been worth it in your mind sometimes to maybe even take on imbalance to try to make situations work, or to allow, to sacrifice what's important to you in a sense, or to sacrifice what your own endeavors or what's in your best interest is what I'd want to say, for a connection. And I feel like this has been a situation where you've had to realize that no matter the connection, there's a need to balance out the connection with you. It's almost like there has to be balance in your own life. Like this is an essential part of the puzzle to creating the results that you want. You can't sacrifice yourself is what I'm kind of getting. And you can't sacrifice you can't build something without being measured and without going step by step. And because I'm kind of getting like making progress through small steps, and that's what builds something solid, because every step of the way you're taking a second to rebalance, you know what I mean? So when you take an action or something happens, it's like it's not happening all at once, because I feel like that could be what creates these towers in your life maybe. And this is getting kind of deep, but I feel that you're learning a lot about how to build in your life, how to build relationships, but also how to build yourself. And so when there is fate involved and when there are unexpected situations, it's almost like not like having a backup plan, but it's almost like having this strong foundation of self and process so you can handle the ups and downs. And yeah, that's what I want to say. And so I just feel like a lot of this has been about connection and the way maybe you build connection in your life and learning how to set yourself up for success. And so, yeah, I don't know. This has been kind of broad now, but I do feel like this is a situation where there has been, I would say this is a very significant connection that you've been experiencing or have been experiencing that's taught you a lot about surrender and radical acceptance and doing what you can, controlling what you can, not giving up control. It's almost like not trying to gain control by giving up your control. Does that make sense? This is so strange. I've never really thought about how these are kind of inverses of each. Actually, I think about that all the time with the Hangman and the Chariot, but I feel like it's realizing that there can't be an extreme of either energy, because the extreme of the Hangman can also be its own almost like Chariot in reverse, where it's like it's almost like the Hangman in reverse can be very similar to the Chariot in reverse, because it's almost like you're surrendering to the flow, but you're not moving, but you're not getting anywhere. You're not achieving what you want. And then there can also be an energy where you're forcing so hard, refusing to go with the flow, refusing to surrender, that you're in the Hangman, you're stuck in the Hangman position. You know what I mean? You're actually stuck. So yeah, I don't know. There's something coming through with that. So hopefully you know at least whether or not this is your connection. So I don't know. We have Pisces, Sagittarius so far. And I feel like a lot of this can have to do with knowing when to go back to the drawing board and go, okay, like the way we need to rework how we were approaching, because this isn't giving us the results that we want. And so it's almost like having to go within and balance something out with that temperance. And I feel like that's why I feel like you've learned a lot through this, is you've had to go internal, and through the surrender, you've learned this adaptability. That's the best way I could describe it. This adaptability, where you don't get stuck in situations when something didn't go according to plan or something didn't work out. It's like being able to recognize where there's an imbalance and where we might need more of another energy so we can get moving again. and looking at things from different perspectives, but also knowing when to look at it from your perspective, like not looking at it through where things aren't in your control. Yeah. So the biggest lesson here has been like focusing on what is in your control as a way to move forward. I feel like that's been what you've learned through this so far is, you know, when in doubt, or like, I think your imbalance or where you were naturally prone is I feel like you maybe felt by surrendering more that would create progress. But I feel like this has been a situation where you've had to do what you can. Like you've had to realize that it's not going to work if you just continue to surrender. Does that make sense? Okay, so what are this person's thoughts and feelings about pile number 1? Okay. All right, we have the Magician and the Queen of Wands in reverse. We have the Star in reverse. I have to cover this. That is Aquarius energy. What are pile number 1's person's thoughts and feelings? We have the Moon in reverse, Cancer. We have the 6 of Pentacles in reverse. Can we clarify the Magician? The Sun in reverse. Can we clarify the Star? Queen of Swords in reverse. Can we clarify the Moon? 6 of Cups. Can we clarify the 6 of Pentacles? We have the 8 of Wands and then the 4 of Swords in reverse at the back of the deck. Okay. Interesting. I wonder if this is someone who's been breadcrumbing you. That's kind of a message that's coming through because I feel like there's an energy here, or maybe they did breadcrumb you in the past with the 6 of Cups here in reverse, but there's almost this feeling of them blocking your ability to see the situation clearly. Like that's what I'm getting with the Queen of Swords in reverse, is this feeling of not knowing. Like I feel like this person has almost, okay, this is relates to their thoughts and feelings, but I feel like they're almost thinking about the state. I feel like they're thinking about how they have, what state they have put you in. Does that make sense? I feel like there's this energy of reflecting on why you are maybe where you're at right now in the connection and why you're feeling the way you're feeling. And with the Queen of Wands in reverse and the Queen of Swords in reverse, I feel like something about this connection has kept you out of your power. Because I feel like you haven't been able to see clearly or cut through confusion. I feel like there's a layer of illusion here with the Moon, the Star in reverse, and the Sun in reverse. It's like, again, there's more like double negatives coming through where it's like, it's almost like maybe you can't tell if you should have no hope, or if it's almost like you don't know if having hope or like vision in this connection is an illusion, or you don't know if your fear is what's causing you to see that, to feel like there's no hope or there is no positive path forward. And so I feel like it's almost created this sense of conflict within you where you can't move on or move forward. It's almost like you're not being given enough. You're not being given enough clarity. And so I feel like it's almost like the way that this person has acted towards you, I feel like has made it, like the King of Cups in reverse. I wonder if this person has been emotionally manipulative with you or just very unclear on their feelings. And I feel like it's almost like they keep you in this state of not being able to rest emotional or mentally, where you just, it's almost like exhausting. I feel like this connection has been somewhat exhausting for you because I feel like this person really has kept you in a state where you don't feel clear or confident either way. Does that make sense? Where you don't feel confident in saying, like, in ending the situation, or, you know, it's almost like you can't tell what happened here. And I feel like this person has kind of done this, I want to say on purpose, because we have the Magician. And so I feel like this person has almost intentionally it's almost like this is something they're doing. Yeah, it's like this is something they're doing on purpose. This is something that is a part of their strategy. Because there's a feeling here of them, for whatever reason, not wanting you to be in your power, not wanting you to see things clearly, or to see, it's like they don't want you to see up from down, because it's almost like they don't want you to come to some kind of conclusion, or like they almost feel like the more information they give you, or the more, it's almost like they benefit by keeping things low resolution. It's almost like they on purpose create some level of confusion here, or fog, or lack of an ability to see the forest from the trees, or see, yeah, it's really unfair. And I can see how this would be really uncomfortable. Like, I feel like this is like this cognitive dissonance energy. I feel like I almost have to look up that word right now. Okay, so I really felt called to look up, can people weaponize cognitive dissonance? And so it is yes. So it says people can weaponize cognitive dissonance to manipulate or influence others by deliberately creating psychological discomfort. And I feel like that's what they have done to you. So this technique is seen in situations like political propaganda, cults, or even personal relationships where individuals leverage the inherent human drive for inner harmony to control others. And that's so interesting, because I feel like that's what I was getting on your side, is that it's almost like you've had to continuously reharmonize. Does that make sense? Like you've had to continue to be in that temperance energy, like step by step. So it says how to weaponize cognitive dissonance, or like not like a how to, but anyways, this is Google. So it says introduce contradictory information. Presents information or arguments that clash with the target's existing beliefs, values, or actions. Okay, this can create psychological discomfort. This contradiction generates cognitive dissonance, a state of mental stress or discomfort from holding conflicting ideas. The individual's intense desire to reduce this discomfort leads them to seek resolution. This could involve changing behavior, adopting new beliefs or actions that align with the new information, changing beliefs, modifying their original beliefs or values to accommodate the conflicting information, rationalization, justifying their actions by distorting facts or creating a new narrative to bridge the gap between their beliefs and their behavior. Okay, I feel like I'm really learning a lot here, you guys. I feel like this is something I've never even gone down, or a rabbit hole I never have. But I feel like we on this channel probably need this like insight. So, and I feel like this is a situation. So it talks about how a manipulative tactic where a partner creates conflicting beliefs, actions, or emotions in another person to cause psychological distress, which they then exploit for their own gain. So I feel like, for example, like let's say that you see yourself, and this person, like a person knows how you see yourself too. Like you see yourself as someone who's very empathetic and understanding of other people. Imagine that someone does something that harms you and then almost plays upon the fact that you're a caring person, and then so then you might feel like conflict about, yeah, I'm a caring person, but you still hurt me. And then it might push you into not coming to the conclusion, or not recognizing the actions, or not really holding consequences. Another thing I could see is that it's possible that this person maybe claims certain things about themselves. So like someone could claim to be like, let's say someone is like, I'm a very supportive partner. I really care about other people. Like someone could claim that about themselves, or like I want all of these things. Like let's say that they say that there's someone that wants a family, like they want to settle down. They appreciate the traditional path in life. And then like let's say that they're out like drinking or partying or something, and so it's like there is an uncomfortable situation where you don't know which to believe about the person because there's a conflicting information with the belief. So it's like, okay, like they say that they are this, but then they're doing this. And then I feel like because that's an uncomfortable situation, and like if someone is really, it's almost like a way of gaslighting in a sense of like, if they never admit to the fact that if they stand strong on saying that they are that kind of person, but then they keep acting in ways that are different from that, I feel like that can be really confusing or disorienting and may cause you to doubt your own perception, or cause you to invalidate your concerns even, or go like, well, it doesn't make sense for me to think this about them because I know that they're this kind of person. You know what I mean? And then it's almost like you don't see things can like slip by you then. Does that make sense? So it's almost like this manipulation tactic that I'm getting from this person. So it says a manipulative partner may exhibit contradictory behavior, such as being intensely loving one moment and cold and distant the next. So this causes distress. The victim's mind struggles to reconcile these conflicting realities, leading to confusion, self-doubt, and emotional exhaustion. Forces rationalization. To reduce this uncomfortable mental state, the victim may start to justify the abuser's actions, diminish their own valid feelings, or even blame themselves. Perpetuates abuse. This allows manipulative partner to maintain control as the victim becomes increasingly dependent on their partner's reality to avoid the pain of dissonance, making it difficult to leave the relationship. So, yeah, that's really sad. So, some signs to watch out for: feeling anxious or guilty after justifying your partner's actions, saying one thing but doing another to appease your partner, making constant excuses for your partner's behavior, feeling drained from constantly trying to rationalize conflicting beliefs, struggling with inner conflict and indecisiveness about the relationship, experiencing significant self-doubt and difficulty trusting your own judgment. So the best thing you can do: acknowledge your feelings, validate your own feelings and experiences rather than dismissing them to reduce dissonance. Talk to a trusted friend, family member, or therapist to gain an objective perspective. Focus on your own values, and beliefs to see if they are in alignment with the actions of your relationships, and then reassess if this relationship is causing more harm than good. Yeah, and so I feel like this could be a situation where you get really stuck in a relationship where you almost don't know what's real anymore. And so I feel like that's something that might have happened to you in this connection, where you may have felt maybe on one hand like this is such a deep connection with that Two of Cups there, but somehow, even though it's this deep connection, it's almost like the more you sacrifice. And so this could also be something fundamental about like breaking down and breaking down a way that you might gaslight yourself into situations, or it's like maybe you had certain beliefs where that could be exploited. Like, for example, if there is a loving, if you have a deep soul connection with someone, a very deep connection, you are safe to continue to sacrifice and accommodate for that person, or like that is what love is. And that could be like a subconscious programming that you have running. And then you may feel confused about how, even though you're doing what you think you're supposed to do in a loving situation, you're still not getting the results you want, or things keep happening in a shockingly different way than you're expecting. And so I feel like this situation has forced you to really question your inherent beliefs that you have around relationships and, like relationships. And because I feel like here's maybe a blockage that you've had, is that I think if someone maybe didn't have the same programming, where like maybe there's a certain rule in your head, like, love, like, for example, this could be subconscious too, but like love is about sacrifice, for example, right? Like, let's say that's something you learned when you were growing up. someone that didn't have that would be able to realize that something isn't love if they're being forced to sacrifice and they're losing their mental health over it. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like if you're someone who has that underlying belief, like love is sacrifice, and there's nothing I wouldn't sacrifice for a relationship or a loved one, because that's what true love is, then even though you might be miserable and not get and things fall apart, or you're not getting what, you know, things aren't moving as you think, you may have a hard time taking in that evidence, like that information, because it conflicts with your belief. So it's like, if you're very in that belief and that's where you're comfortable in that belief, then it's going to be hard for you to see how it might be time to rethink the definition of what constitutes like this beautiful Two of Cups relationship. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So it's almost like if you have a certain belief about something, it can be hard for you to understand, like, okay, on one hand, it's like there's these incompatible programs running. One of them says love means sacrifice, and then you might have another feeling going on, or another like program running that says love is able to be built into something stable. Or like, I also feel that if there's a loving relationship, it means that there can be a stable future built, right? So like, let's say that you have these two programs running. One of them might be true. It's almost like realizing that maybe it's hard for you to understand the situation or the relationship, because it's like there's a party that's like for sure thinking that this is love. And so then in your mind, it's like, okay, since this is love, it can be built, it will be built into a solid future, or there will be something built between the two of us, right? So you're thinking that, and then you're also thinking that there's no amount of sacrifice that's too much for love. But it's almost like these ideas about love may be at the root of your continual being blindsided almost, because it's like, maybe the truth is that it isn't love. It's like those things might not always be true, right? So it's like, it's possible that in some instances, situations that can be really stable and really committed and you know, fruitful in the 3D, they're, you know, they don't always have to have love, you know what I mean? But some of them do. So it's like, I feel like there's a need to recognize that both can be true. And I feel like with the situation of love equals sacrifice, I feel like in some situations it makes sense. Like, sacrifice and love can be loving, but it can also be toxic, you know what I mean? And so I feel like there's this need to see maybe any rigid beliefs that you have in this situation that are making it really hard for you to figure out, to understand this person, to understand the connection. Because I feel like ultimately you're very confused. And I feel like it has forced you, though, to focus on what's in front of you. And I feel like it has, on some level, though, given you this illusion of a universe of chaos. Like, I feel like you started to feel like you don't really have a roadmap, or like you can't see ahead of yourself. I feel like you've been feeling like you can only see right in front of yourself because the world is so chaotic and you don't know what's going to happen, almost, because it's almost like the things that you thought you could navigate with, like the way you were navigating was no longer working anymore. And so that's why you've been feeling so, you know, it's kind of served you. I feel like Spirit wants you to know that this has served you, because it's built up your ability to take things one step at a time. And it's almost like, instead of relying on any certain belief or navigating idea, like, you know, love is sacrifice or love is XYZ, I feel like you've kind of been on no programming, where it's like you've been having to take things in the present moment and deal with them without like an absolute categorization yet. Does that make sense? So it's almost like you've been forced to step by step integrate certain situations or certain events without taking a shortcut, it's almost like you've been put in these situations that create cognitive dissonance. And it's almost like you've been put in the position of having to blend the two instead of bypassing one of the things. Does that make sense? So it's almost like you've been learning how two things can be true at once and how to navigate more skillfully with a more flexible and adaptable like way of moving. Does that make sense? Because I feel like if we have certain ideas about what love is, or certain like fixed ideas, then we don't have a lot of variability in how we can navigate situations or how we can problem solve. You know what I mean? So I feel like there's been this energy of you learning how to open up your perspective by not being able to rely on the familiar logic that you've had. It's forced you to try different possibilities and to see what works one thing at a time, and one thing at a time, but also without creating some sort of absolute autopilot way of moving in the future. Does that make sense? So I feel like there's almost this energy of learning that maybe past experiences maybe have created a sort of calcified or very structured way of viewing the world that is not necessarily a true reflection of reality. And so I feel like you've been going through the situation to literally break you out of any of those fixed and rigid beliefs that aren't necessarily true all the time. It's like you've been put in a situation where it's like sink or swim. It's like this has been such a challenging situation for you, because I feel like the more you try to lean into any of your, previous conditioning and the way you previously viewed things, it's like you just run into a dead end again and again and again with this person. And I feel like that's because there's this level of, until you break out of your programming, it's almost like you can't see the situation clearly, because this person may be weaponizing some of your beliefs against you, or may know that you hold certain, like certain truths in your mind, you know what I mean? And they almost use it against you. So like, for example, if you have a rigid belief where you think that, or like a limited belief, it's not the full picture is what I mean by that. It's not actually accounting for all of the possibilities. But like, let's say you have this idea, and I feel like this is also just like growing up too. And like, as we get older, we go through more experiences. But I feel that if we've had a certain worldview that, love or relationships or any kind of situation is going to unfold a certain way, and we have like questioning belief around that, you know what I mean? I just like, my mind literally just went completely blank. But if we have that, then when we're met with a situation that does not act in the way that we've been does not logically make sense with our current system, you're going to be stuck in this process of either trying to fit that person into a mold or into your logical understanding. And if you do that, though, you're going to continuously be duped, because you might be in this cognitive dissonance state where you're not acknowledging the outliers, or like in some way it's like a red flag, or even just like the evidence that's right in front of you that there's contradictory information, that this person is contradicting the way you are prone to seeing things. Like, that's what's happening in this situation. And I feel like it's been this process of you having to understand that the reason why this is such a like confusing situation for you is because it's challenging maybe a very like subconscious belief or a very cemented belief that you have, maybe from like your upbringing or something like that. And the only way to almost solve the puzzle of this situation and get to see things clearly again with this Queen of Swords, this Queen of Wands, for you to feel confident and, like you can see through the confusion, I feel like it requires you to expand your viewpoint. So it's almost like the more you expand your viewpoint, allowing for more contradiction, the more things come away from pixelation into clarity. But it's almost like the more we don't have that flexibility of taking in, seeing, does that make sense? Seeing all the different possibilities, it's almost like we're kind of blind because we only see things this way or that way. Does that make sense? So this could be also an exercise that you've been going through of learning to cut away from all or nothing thinking or black and white thinking. You know what I mean? Because it's almost like that could lead you into, it's like a cognitive fallacy. I feel like this is what this is I feel like this is like a cognitive fallacy that you're learning that you might have, is like, it's almost like this inability to, there's a gray area. I feel like you've been forced into the gray area where, and like that's the temperance energy, where it's not this or that. We're learning how all of the gray and all of the different colors of the combination of the two things. And I feel like, so long story short, I just want you to know that if you've resonated so far and this connection has seemed like something that's been like in your mind, like I have so much love for this person, is such a deep connection. And it's just something that kind of, you just can't seem to figure out, or you can't seem to find success in. It's almost like you can't seem to figure out the logic of how it works. Like that's what it feels like. It's almost like you feel again and again and again confused about what happens in this connection, or maybe this person's actions or what they do or what they don't do. Like it's almost like hard for you to predict this situation. But through that, you've been getting sharper though. You've been getting more aware. But I feel like here's where I feel the need to reveal to you, like from this person's perspective, I feel like they're aware of the fact that they keep you in a state of not knowing what you're seeing. Like this person is in this elusive kind of an energy where it's almost like they play in the gray area, or like they're in the gray area, but it's almost like they're hidden somehow. It's like they're hidden because it's almost like they're not it's like they're moving. This is like kind of an analogy, but it's like they're moving in a spectrum that you're not seeing. And you keep seeing them as this thing or that thing, and you keep getting confused. Does that make sense? It's almost like there are certain things about this person that seem X and certain things that seem Y. And if you're more prone to being comfortable in the X set, you might disregard the evidence that points to this person being Y. And that's what's going on here. And this person knows that they're doing that. And they also know that it's preventing you from seeing the past clearly and moving on. Like I almost feel like this person keeps you in this blind state where you feel like you can never see things clearly. You can never figure out. You can't heal either, because it's like you still don't know something from the past. I feel like a lot of you guys might still think about the past, or think about if it was this or that. You know what I mean? And I feel like the reality is that it's a mix of both, and that this person, and it's realizing that this person can't be X because there is Y factors. And so and then you also then have to realize that we can't categorize people into X or Y, because that's not an accurate way of seeing things. You know what I'm saying? And so we're going to get messed up if we do that, because, we might accidentally, I feel like there's a need to broaden like your idea of what, like yes or no. You know what I mean? It's like, I feel like I like this is like a good relationship, needs to include like more nuance in a sense, because I feel like if it doesn't, then you may be prone to thinking that like things are perfect, or like there's this perfect relationship, but it just makes no sense to you why they act the way they do, or why things unfold the way they do. And it's almost like you're not able to see the truth of this other person because of seeing it one way. Does that make sense? And so I think this person's thoughts and feelings are that they know what they're doing. And I feel like they keep you in this state. I feel like it's honestly really kind of sad here, because I feel like I feel like they keep you in this waiting energy, not, I feel like they also keep you almost out of your power or not able to like stand up for your beliefs. I feel like you're not able to see whether or not this connection is something you should protect yourself against or not. And I feel like you're not happy in this energy, but you don't see clearly. It's like they're keeping you out of by you not having clarity, you're also not able to defend yourself or move in another direction. It's like keeping in this waiting energy where it might be this painful situation that you just can't seem to heal from or let go because it's almost like you don't understand it. It's like this energy of I don't mentally even understand what happened. And so it's almost like your attachment to this person actually also has a lot to do with your confusion because it's pointing to something deeper. And that's why you feel like this connection is so important, because it actually is on a lot of levels, but not because of the connection, but because it's transforming you. It's leveling you up in a painful way, but it's almost like sink or swim. It's like you have to keep swimming, and the more you keep working at this and the more you keep like getting back up and going, okay, well, like I didn't get it that time, I still don't understand, like why don't I think about this possibility? Every time you're getting closer and closer to seeing it clearly. But I can see that you're still at this point where you're feeling like this is this beautiful connection, and I feel like you're close to understanding it, or I was understanding your logic and what you're thinking. But what still doesn't make sense is the Tower. Does that make sense? Is like, I feel like yes, the Wheel of Fortune is a factor in life where we can't control everything. And I feel like you've been learning about surrender and when to be in control. But I feel like with the Tower, it's like, I feel like what you haven't been able to see is if like you might understand I feel like you're learning how to like move in a way that is in alignment with yourself in a sense. But I feel like you've maybe still been missing when the issue is outside of you, and that it's almost like when to realize that you're building on hollow ground, or that someone's setting you up to build on hollow ground. Does that make sense? Where it's almost like no matter how right you get it from your perspective, until you maybe see that another person is this Tower energy, or it is not someone you can, it's not a good faith actor. That's what it is. It's like, no matter how much you take it upon yourself, no matter how many different perspectives, this is now kind of turning over, is like, this is almost like the final stage though. But I do feel like this situation has helped you kind of, or maybe for some of you guys, you've been trying to figure this out for a long time. And it's like, I've been looking at things from every different perspective. I'm approaching this from every different angle. Have tried every different strategy, and I still can't seem to make progress in this life. It's probably someone else's lack of truth. I think if someone else is the one that, it's like there's a missing variable and it's not in your control. It's not something you need to work at more. It's almost like just needing to see the other element for what it is. So you don't, you're never going to find balance with it is what I'm getting. Cause imagine if you get really good at balancing black and white, you know what I mean? Like, like for example, if a situation is 65% this way, how to bring the other balancing factor into it. So you may really know how to harmonize or know how to problem solve in situations, how to fix things. But I almost feel like this situation is one where no matter how many times you look at things from a different perspective, if someone is giving you the ingredient X, but it's actually Y, or like, let's say someone is telling you that this is white, but it's actually black, and then you're taking it as white, and that's what's going into your equation of the temperance. Does that make sense? You're going to come up to this Tower every time because someone is deceiving you. That's what you have to realize, is someone is being false. Like there's false energy here. Someone is there's a trickster energy. And that's what's hard to understand here, is that this person is a trickster. yeah, and it almost just feels like a situation like it's almost like someone's sabotaging me. Like, why can't I seem to create progress or create an ending? It's almost like you can't get a conclusion. You can't come to the right conclusion. That's what it feels like. And I feel like the conclusion that you're meant to come to is that you never had a chance to come to the right conclusion because you've been fed misinformation. Does that make sense? So you didn't even have the right ingredients to succeed. So someone has been setting you up for failure again and again and again. And I feel like this honestly gives like a saboteur energy. Like this is a sabotaging energy because they have, just so you know, they have the ability to give you the complete truth. And I feel like maybe the understanding that they have been giving you the complete truth is what's messing you up. You know what I mean? Because it's like an equation where it's like, if you take this person's behavior towards you as being in good faith and them doing their best to give you clarity, then it's going to throw you off. You know what I mean? Like, because I mean, the second you realize that they are not an honest person or they're not someone that cares to give you clarity, they care to do what's in their best interest. So that's what you have to start seeing, is that this is someone that chooses the sun or the moon depending on what's in their best interest, and depends on what it's like, it's something that is about, it's like it's their strategy. It's like, this is someone that strategizes, and what they do, and if they acted in contradictory ways, has always been a reflection of their own agenda. Like, this is someone who has an agenda, and that's what rules them. And so if there's been an assumption that because you are a good faith actor, or because you are someone who does your best to give other people clarity or be honest with other people, and you aren't the kind of person that selectively that takes action based on your own agenda. Like, I feel like if you're someone who's very pure hearted, or someone that believes in, you know, being honest, and like, this is where someone could use your own values against you, is like, if someone knows that you're a very honest person and that you know, you do your best, like, I just feel like this person can play on that. Like, I feel like they know a lot of different things about you. And so I feel like if they learn that you're someone that always is honest and always does the right thing and doesn't have an agenda, you know, or doesn't operate from that place, number one, you might assume you might be easy to, it's going to be easier to convince you that they're the same way if you are in that mental state. You know what I'm saying? So like, if there are certain beliefs you have that can be exploited, you know what I mean? Like, everyone's just doing their best. And I feel like a lot of this can come from like when people have a very like empathetic energy, or people are very selfless, you know what I mean? People are very, and a lot of spiritual people, I feel like, can, because they are so empathic, I feel like people like this can really target those kinds of people, because they know that relationships are important to them, and they know that all they have to do is get the other person to see them in a certain light and in a certain relationship. And it's like, and yeah, it's actually really sad. It's like, they know you value that so much that you're gonna make accommodations. You're not gonna want to, you're gonna be prone to seeing it that way. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. Almost in the same way that like when we're younger, like, because we have good intentions and maybe we haven't, or like, even if you have come across other people that have been dishonest with you, like, you may have always found a way to accept the other person's behavior, or kind of like see it through a lens of like spirituality, or like a lens of you know, like, because you love that person, for example, like, let's say if they're dishonest with you, like, there could have always been a part of you that, like, because it's hard to sit with those two realities, that you love someone so much that went out of their way to be dishonest with you, it's possible that throughout life, like, you may not have been able to integrate those experiences. And so I feel like this probably is a theme throughout your life that this is about to break, though, because I feel like you're going to start realizing where, because it's painful and because it's like honestly unimaginable and like terrible, like I feel like it's possible because of cognitive dissonance that you might have like kind of disregarded some experiences like that. And I just feel like this is someone who takes advantage of that. And I feel like if you look back at the facts of the situation, I feel like this would point to a situation where someone told you whatever you needed to hear, probably learned a lot about you and like how you view the world, and probably mirrored back those same ideas to you, so you trusted them. So then when they started treating you unfairly, or they didn't actually act in ways that backed up the beliefs they said they had that likely actually mirrored yours, it probably is very hard to see that. You know what I mean? It's very hard to understand, like, you could be prone to just this almost like state of denial where it's like you're being gaslit. You know what I mean? Like, you start doubting yourself and your ability to understand, but like that's never been an issue. It's more like someone has manipulated you and taken advantage of. And a lot of people, this would happen to a lot of people, but I just feel like this is like you're having a run-in with someone that is very, very manipulative and does not have a lot of empathy. So even though they know that you're struggling and that they're holding you back and they're putting you in an unfair situation, they don't care as long as it's not in the way of their aims. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is someone who doesn't have a lot of empathy. This is someone that is probably very different from you, actually, where you're willing to sacrifice things. You're willing to see things from other perspectives, almost so much to the point where like you can merge with other people because you're able to see it. Imagine that this is someone who is the opposite of that. You know what I mean? Like, they don't do that, you know? And so they're not above these terrible actions, you know what I mean? Or this terrible way of treating you. And honestly, this makes me upset for you. And I'm like really sorry you've had to go through this. So I feel like I want to look at for the extended reading. I want to see what you believe about this person that isn't necessarily true. And I also want to see what maybe you've been overlooking about this person to help you get to help you bring it all together. And then I just want to give you anything else that spirit wants you to know, or like anything else that can help kind of solidify this lesson, or help you see through the lens that you need to see in order to avoid these situations in the future. Yeah, so I'll have that link down below in the description box. It'll be a link to Vimeo. I'll also do the Gumroad links in case you guys like that. But other than that, if you guys found this helpful, I know this is a really long reading. If you're able to hit the like button, leave a comment, let me know what you guys think. Yeah, I'm just like disturbed by this, honestly. But yeah, sorry. I'm also just really hearing that this really, I do feel like, is about maybe how from your childhood, if you haven't seen, I feel like this is like disturbing. I feel like this person may know a lot about your childhood, or you might have like opened up to them about your experiences, and it's possible that they saw the truth of certain things you were sharing, but they saw that you didn't, and I feel like they may have weaponized that. So I'm really sorry to say that, but I'm really getting that, which is just disturbing. But there are people in the world that operate like this, and it's freaky. But anyways, if you make sure you subscribe before you leave, and I'll see those of you that want to join in the extended. Hello, pal number 2. Welcome to your reading. We are going to be looking at your person's current thoughts and feelings toward you. We are going to start off with an energy check-in to see what your current thoughts and feelings are towards this person, how you view the connection, anything that is going to be helpful for you guys, and determining whether or not this is your reading. So Spirit, please tune me into pile number 1's energy. Please allow me to get honest and clear messages for pile number 1 that will help create clarity for them on whatever they most need to know. Okay. Pile number 1, Spirit. What are their thoughts, feelings, and perspective of this connection, this person? Anything that's most helpful, please. What are pile number 2's? How will they know this is their reading? What is their perspective, thoughts, feelings, this connection? We have strength, Leo energy coming through. We have the Page of Swords in reverse. It could have been upright or in reverse, but I'm just gonna, I intuitively chose which way to pick it. So pile number 2's thoughts, feelings, perspective toward this connection. Ace of Wands in reverse, Ace of Cups, or sorry, 8 of Cups in reverse. Interesting. Can we clarify strength, please? We have the 6 of Wands. Yeah, there was something, I knew for some reason strength seemed to be representing ego. Like I had a feeling about that, or pride, or even like a sense of, I don't know, stubbornness almost coming through, or maybe like stubborn loyalty. But yeah, or like this feeling of wanting to succeed or wanting things to work. But meanwhile, we have this Ace of Wands in reverse and the 8 of Cups in reverse, which makes me feel like maybe we're avoiding, with the Page of Swords in reverse, looking at or questioning. It's not even that. It's more like we don't want to explore maybe certain truths in the connection, or maybe anything that would highlight that maybe the situation is not as fulfilling, or maybe that there's a lack of vitality, or it's almost like things are burning out or losing energy, but there's a feeling of not wanting to walk away, not wanting to acknowledge that. What else? 2 of Pentacles. Eight of Wands in reverse. What else for pile number 2's perspective, thoughts, feelings towards this person, this connection? The Devil in reverse, Capricorn. The Knight of Swords here, yeah. So I do feel there's an energy here of being very, I want to say certain about this, or feeling like headstrong. I feel like there's a headstrong energy here where there's this feeling of not being open to other ideas, or not being open to challenging maybe your own perspective on this. I don't know why, but it almost feels like this connection is... Sorry, I need to just let my dog out 1 second. So yeah, it feels like there's this headstrong perspective where with the Knight of Swords here, it's almost like I don't want to second guess my perspective of this, or I don't want to consider different options for action. Because with the 2 of Pentacles here, I feel like that can be an energy where there's a feeling of having to, that's very much the vibe of having to think of two different perspectives or two almost contradicting values or things that, like, it's almost this prioritization card where you, for example, you could be, it's like needing to balance work with fun. You know what I mean? So like those can be the two things here. So it's like within all of your priorities, it's a feeling of making sure that we're not being lopsided in that, or that we're not prioritizing one thing over another important thing. And maybe there's a sense of, it's interesting. It's like, I'm kind of getting a sense of pride around maybe feeling the need to project that things are under control or that everything is in balance, but it feels like there's something underlying that, though. I just want to clarify. Like, it's almost like maybe you guys are feeling like things are ready to move forward, or you're feeling confident towards something, but it just feels like it just feels like there's less to build. Yeah, okay. So what I'm getting here, especially with this bow and arrow, is there's a feeling of not wanting to have to go backwards to go forward. It's almost this feeling of not wanting to change direction, or not wanting to consider that there may be a need to change direction. Yeah. So there could be like certainty even around a decision made in the past, or it's almost just feels like there's a decision that was made and a feeling of wanting to not consider whether or not that was the right decision or not. Like, that's almost how it feels. Can we clarify the devil in reverse? Page of Pentacles. Yeah, again, we have the Chariot. It's almost like something isn't moving forward, though, or it feels like, sorry, this might be kind of confronting, because I almost feel like what I'm already telling you is maybe like harder to hear, or something you're not wanting to look at. So I don't know why Spirit would give me that for the energy check-in, but I'm just reading the energy very openly, that it feels like there really is a blockage to momentum moving forward, or a certain plan isn't, I don't know, like it isn't realistic, or it isn't moving forward. Yeah, so it almost feels like something isn't, like there's determination here to go in a certain direction. And I'm not sure yet how this is relating to the connection. Spirit, how is this relating to the connection? Because I'm kind of picking up multiple situations, where one situation could be that maybe some of you have made the decision to prioritize something else over this connection. And maybe there's a part of you that's feeling like the direction you chose, maybe this certainty that you made the right decision, or that you were heading in the right direction, like maybe real life is kind of not mirroring that inner resolve. And then so maybe there's a part of you that's almost like doesn't want to look back and see if you missed something, or doesn't want to question the path you've taken. Another situation could be, yeah, it almost feels like there might have been a decision between either two people or two paths here. And it just almost feels like someone's staying dedicated to a path because there's this certainty that no, like I did get away from something that was bad, or like I did there's just this feeling of maybe not even wanting to see whether or not there was something that was maybe coming from your own shadow here influencing things. Yeah, I'm trying to put this into words, but it's almost this feeling of, imagine that, I'm just putting it in my own eyes and like how I would feel if I was in this energy. It's almost like I made a decision that some person or some situation was like toxic or like was bad, or like getting away from that was what was going to finally kind of solve my problems, or like that was what was gonna bring me victory. That was what was in my way. You know what I mean? Was something like that. But then, you know, and feeling like you made the right decision, you know, and it probably was hard, but it's almost like, just for this group, it does feel a little bit like there might be like projection onto someone else. Something like almost like convenient. Sorry, like this is just the wording I put it into, but like it's almost like where we, instead of dealing with maybe an imbalance elsewhere, or it's almost can be easier to see something else external as the problem, or something besides something within ourselves, or a certain pattern within ourselves almost. And so it almost feels like there's almost this resistance towards maybe looking at this situation again and maybe seeing where you may have projected onto this person, or where you may have does that make sense, where something internal to you, or maybe even in another situation, because it's almost giving like scapegoat energy, where we might have like teamed up with the wrong thing, or teamed up with something that where we felt justified in kind of casting something out as like the wrong thing, or the thing that's like messing everything up, only to later on kind of realize the problem is still there, or it's like worse, or things get worse when, you know what I mean, that path was to actually have to look and go, wow, like I don't know if I got that right, you know what I mean? Yeah, so that's what I'm kind of seeing for you guys. So I'm wondering if this could be a group that might be looking for confirmation that someone that they maybe made a decision against, or kind of like even like maybe even a judgment against. I feel like this is almost a group that's looking for validation that what thing they thought was true, so then you can continue to kind of not have to make a different choice, or not have to course correct, or not have to go back and make things right almost. Sorry if that's like a difficult message, but I just have to say what's coming through. All right, so let's see then how this person that you're asking about is currently thinking and feeling toward you. It also could even be that like other people around you were like approving of this decision you made, or were approving. Yeah, like it's almost like maybe other people's opinion could have swayed you in this as well. Like where maybe you did what like everyone was kind of telling you to do, and like, you know, you felt confident about that, and it's almost like I feel like there is a part of you that doesn't want to question it, but is somehow, it doesn't feel like you're really here to question whether or not, yeah, so this could be like spirit really trying to get to you here and maybe say like, be careful in this group. I feel like there's a need to be careful of looking for like there's almost confirmation bias going on, where, you know, you like want to see things one way, and so then you look for evidence that you only see and accept evidence that confirms what you already believe, or what you've already chosen. Yeah, because you know what's made me think about that is like, imagine that you get like a car, like, so you invest a lot in it, and so like there might be like information coming out that car, you know, has XYZ problem, but like I feel like we're all guilty of doing this where you just maybe you deep down you know something was a bad decision, but like you just don't want to it because maybe you can't change it or you can't, like you already bought it, you know? So it's kind of like you might as well just focus on the positive. So I'm wondering if that could be a situation that's going on for you where I don't know who's going to come through. I don't know if it's like a connection you chose kind of like that, like where you made a choice toward it thinking that it was like, or it even could be like, imagine choosing a car because everyone's like super obsessed with it, or like everyone would agree that that's like a really awesome car. And then it's kind of like later on things are coming out about like how maybe it's kind of like a ripoff or something like that, you know, and kind of not wanting to, almost wanting to continue to think about like how cool the car is rather than admit to the lack of functionality of it or how it has certain, so it's almost like appearances, you know what I mean? It's almost like trying to focus on the appearance fact of like, well, no, like maybe I internally feel different about this, but like, no, everyone would agree that this is like, that this is the best. But then it's like, why do I kind of question, or like, why is there things that don't really add up? And so I feel like this group may be kind of struggling with authentic choices, or like, because this feels like a symptom of not making choices from an authentic place, and then regretting it. It's kind of like that confusion is happening. And I'm not trying to like accuse you of not being authentic. I feel like this is something we all relate to. And I feel like I've experienced this before too, where it's almost like in a situation where maybe what we actually wanted would have been like a harder path. Does that make sense? Where it's almost like maybe what we actually wanted was less popular, or it was going to require more challenge than the other path. But like, and then other people kind of come in and go, wait, no, like that path is way better. And so you're like, yeah, you know what, you're right. And you kind of accept that truth. And then, but deep down, you always, you know, in your heart that you wanted to do that other thing. You know what I mean? Okay. And I feel like the right advice for you in a moment like that would be someone that really has your best interest at heart and goes, you know, like, well, if that's what you want, like, I don't think any of those like potential downsides are too much, you know, like it's almost like you needed like a person like that to be like, who cares if it's XYZ? Like, I know there might be these, so maybe there was something you wanted, or a connection you wanted, or a decision, or maybe a person or something like that, that maybe you had a lot of hesitations about, but like still your heart and your intuition was pulling you in that direction. And I feel like you really maybe needed someone to be like, no, like follow your heart. Like those are things like, yeah, maybe in the short term, it's going to be like it might be harder, but like it's going to be worth it. You know what I mean? And so I just feel like there's kind of a feeling like that coming through, but, yeah, 1 second. But yeah, I just can't stop getting that kind of situation. That's what this is reminding me of, because I feel like I've had situations in my life where like, I maybe like, I don't know, because I committed to something, or it's almost like because you already have gone so far down a certain path, but that could also just be like, I bought this item that's non-returnable, and like at the time I like really thought it was the right decision, but as time goes on, it becomes more and more clear to me that like I don't really like it, you know. And even though, you know, every time, like let's say it's a car again, like I bring it around, other people are like, wow, like what a cool car, but like you're like, yeah, and like that's kind of cool, but then over time it's like, but I resent this freaking car. Like the truth is like I don't like the car. I don't like it. I didn't like it. I never liked it that much. I made the wrong choice. I thought it'd be fine, and now I don't want to I don't want to see that, because I actually will resent this car so much. You know what I mean? And it's like, but it's something I put so much into. So it's like, it's just kind of like a bad situation like that, you know? Where you're stuck in a rock and a hard place, because it's like, if you just pretend to like something that you don't, though, it's like, there's just a feeling of inauthenticity within yourself where you're just like, you know, it's one of those things where it's like hollow. It's like, yes, there's like kind of these moments where I get gratification from it, but like, I guess I might have chosen this thing because, you know, maybe not for the right reasons. Does that make sense? Like, you know, look good at the time, or like maybe I was at a place in my life where like I thought like, you know, the appearances really mattered, and like, you know what, like let's say you bought a Ferrari or something, and like really you just want a Subaru, you know, like you're the kind of person that likes a Subaru, but like maybe you got the Ferrari because you can. Like, does that make sense? I don't know. Yeah. Okay, so now let's see how this other person is thinking and feeling toward you. How is the person that pile number 2 has in their mind, how are they thinking and feeling towards pile number 2? Okay, we have the 8 of Cups, the 10 of Wands in reverse, the 7 of Cups, the 7 of, yeah, okay, so this person that we're tapping into is coming through in an energy where I feel like they maybe at one point were open to this connection. But I feel like, because with the 7 of Cups here to the 8 of Cups, it's almost this energy of I've seen enough, or it's almost this energy of I've learned what I've needed to learn about the situation or this connection, and I can now confidently, you know, even though I feel emotionally invested, I can like I'm gonna have to decide to move away from this, because like almost like I'm done. There's this energy of being tired of the burden, or feeling overburdened by maybe the lack of, it's almost like continuing to see an illusion or continuing to dream that something is like the 9 of Cups, so like a wish fulfillment. It almost feels like that is starting to outweigh, like the burden of that is outweighing the potential of it. Does that make sense? So with the 7 of Wands here, there's a bit of a defensiveness here where I feel like someone is getting a lot more confident in themselves and sure of what makes them happy and what they like. And what's weird here, I'm not gonna lie, is it's almost like this is what I would guide you to do. So it's interesting. Like, I feel like you're mirroring this person where I'm not sure if this is someone where, I don't know if you guys chose each other and maybe you are still wanting to think that the situation is gonna lead to the 9 of Cups or the 10 of Cups even, like together. So I don't know. You guys will know. But it feels like if this is someone that is almost in the same situation as you, where they're feeling this burden of being in between the 7 of Cups and the 8 of Cups. Like, because I feel like you're in this 7 of Cups energy, whether or not you kind of realize it. Because it's like, there's still this, that's what I was kind of talking about too. Like, where I'm talking about, think about when we make any kind of choice and we don't really know 100% yet what's going to make us happy. And that's why I don't blame you, and I'm not trying to like guilt you or make you feel bad in any way. I just had to be honest about the energy I was picking up. But like, imagine with the car analogy, it's like, let's say each of the 7 cars each of the 7 cups represents different cars. You know what I mean? So we're making a choice in regards to cars. And it doesn't always have to be that way, I'm just saying. But it's like, let's say we have a Subaru, a Ferrari, like a truck, a Ford, and we don't know yet what our ideal car is. Like, we don't know exactly the right choice to make. So all we can kind of do is project out in kind of like a fantasy of what we think a certain option is going to be, because we haven't quite lived it out yet. Does that make sense? And there's still kind of illusion around it. Like, we don't know, we see the appearance of it, but we don't know what it's going to be like when we actually go down that path. And then the 8 of Cups is an energy of the next. So it's like, we have gone down, we have picked one of these and we've invested in it. And it's that crap situation where, and this is like life though. Like, I mean, this happens all the time, you know, where you really thought maybe a certain relationship or whatever, a certain car was going to be like the right fit for you. And it was going to be something that grows into like wish fulfillment with the 9 of Cups, like makes you emotionally happy and fulfilled. Like, you get what you want. Something really makes you happy. And then we can build to the 10 of Cups, you know? But I just feel like there's a mirrored situation here where I feel like you are not wanting to see that maybe there is an Eight of Cups situation here where maybe your fulfillment is elsewhere. You know what I mean? But this person feels like they're in the situation where they're ready to feel confident about what they value and what they stand for. Because with the Six of Wands, it's like that can be an energy of where you may be thinking more. It's almost like the Seven of Wands is like the Six of Wands turns against you. You know what I mean? So in the Six of Wands, we have everyone cheering for someone. You know, everyone's like approving of that person and they're getting recognition. And then we go to the Seven of Wands where like you've gotten some level of success and now people are coming after you, you know, and people are kind of wanting to knock you off your pedestal or knock you off of yeah, does that make sense? And so I feel like this person is almost feeling that vibe of like, I'm ready to stand up for my truth and defend what's important to me despite what everyone else thinks. You know, it's almost like I'm not going to carry the burden of all of like these different choices. And, you know, I feel like I know, but let's get more. All right. So for the Eight of Cups, what are pile number two's persons and thoughts and feelings? Can we clarify the Eight of Cups? Yeah, we have the Sun. And that's so interesting that the Sun is coming out because it's like we have more Leo energy, but this is like clarity versus wow. And so what I'm really getting here is like, I feel like someone is finding their true happiness or they're seeing the path. This is someone who's seeing the path to what they really want. And yeah, it's like what wasn't clear before it is emerging. And I'm also getting this message around how our ego and our pride can definitely be something that keeps us away from or makes it harder to recognize where our happiness really is. You know what I mean? And I relate to that. I mean, I feel like that's like the human experience really. And so I would relate to that in the sense of like certain jobs I've tried out in the past that, you know, I knew I would get like recognition for, like that they were socially good or like, you know what I mean? And, you know, my ego liked that, but deep down, I really wanted to have the courage to walk a different path with it and no, come hell or high water, you know what I mean? And I kind of wanted to go screw what other people think or following some sort of tradition or ideal, which it doesn't have to be this, but it's almost just like this energy of what is this about? What's the right words for this? When it's almost like doing what's popular or doing things just because it's popular and it's like, does that make sense? And so almost wanting to chase the most popular thing. But it's always a moving target and it's like not really in alignment with your truth. Anyways, I feel like I don't need to keep harping on this. I know you're probably just like, okay, this is already kind of a frustrating reading to listen to. So I just want to, I don't know. I just want you to know I empathize and I understand what you may be going through and just know that it's never too late to kind of turn things around and it's probably worth it. But anyways, what are pile number two's person's thoughts and feelings? Yeah, we have the Two of Wands. It's like they're making they've made a choice to have courage. It's like they're leaving the burdens of almost like illusion. And even if there's like a comfort zone or something they've invested in, it's like they see where their happiness is and they're making a plan or a decision to almost drop their baggage or drop their burdens or all other things that could distract them or almost be like this wall. It's almost like there's a feeling here of being in, like, let's almost imagine that the Eight of Cups can feel like you're stuck in a brick square. Like that's, oh, and I'm also getting the square card. That's really relevant to this somehow. And I'll bring that back in. But I do want to say that it's almost, yeah, I'm getting a lot of analogies right now. So I'm kind of getting the castle archetype and the box. And like the castle actually ending up, it can end up being sort of like a box, like a brick wall. And so it's like we have these, like, think about how a castle, like, it builds boundaries, and, you know, like there can oftentimes be brick walls, you know, protecting like a castle or something like that. But there's almost this feeling of this person having questioned, they've done enough of looking at maybe where they aren't super happy within this wall, and it's almost like that curiosity is the very thing that's allowing them to push like one brick out at a time. And it's almost like the more that they're kind of breaking out of this box or breaking out of what they've known or what they've already invested in, they're starting to see more and more clearly what they really want. And they know it's outside of the castle, it's outside of the brick wall, it's outside of what they've already known and what they've already chosen. It's almost like they're aware that their happiness, there's going to be a journey toward it, because that's the Eight of Cups. It's almost like this solo journey where you have to leave. It's, I feel like in the typical card, it's this energy of someone kind of leaving to go on a journey into like the mountains or something. And so I feel like this is someone that's doing that or is making a plan right now to do that. Yeah, we have the Magician. What are this person's thoughts and feelings? Yeah, the Nine of Cups in reverse. It's like they know what they want and what they don't want. Like, I feel like there's almost this energy here of, oh, you know what I'm thinking of? Billie Eilish, I had a dream that I got everything I wanted, but when I wake up, I see you with me or something. I don't know what the meaning of, you know what? I'm going to look up that song. Okay, so more insight is coming through. And by the way, this doesn't have to be a romantic situation, because I want to be more open in readings going forward, that, you know, it doesn't have to be romance, because I am willing to also just talk about anyone's thoughts and feelings towards you. And so I'm just looking up the song and just to get more insight into it, because a lot of the way my download works is if I dig into it, it'll usually be really relevant to the theme. And so it says Billie Eilish's song Everything I Wanted encapsulates the theme of dichotomy between dream fulfillment and internal struggle, reflecting on the complexities of achieving one's desires juxtaposed with feelings of isolation, the pressure of expectations, and the profound need for genuine understanding and self-acceptance. And that's what I'm kind of getting with the Nine of Cups here, is like, I had a dream, I got everything I wanted. And it's the Nine of Cups in reverse, though. It's like, why I'm not happy though, or it's like I thought this is what I wanted, but all I feel is isolated, like in this brick wall, in this castle. Like it only has made me feel, I don't know. And so it almost I don't know if there's like a level of like, and this would make sense with the Six of Wands here, because if you think about that, that can talk about like celebrity or fame or, you know, being popular, right? And so it's almost like the idea of being popular and having a lot of people like approve of you, but then also how that might create kind of like an isolating feeling where you might feel, it's also kind of the vibe of like being in a room full of people but feeling really alone, and almost just like celebrity. And this is just an analogy, like I'm not expecting everyone listening to this is like a celebrity or something. It just mirrors those choices where oh wow, Stuck in the Suburbs is coming through too. But I do feel here there's almost a theme of what happens when the things we always thought we wanted aren't making us happy. And I almost feel like that's what's happening to you in some way. And I am also wondering if somehow you're in a similar situation with this person. Because what's also coming through is Galinda and why am I not remembering her name? Elphaba. And how there's that part of the song that says, it says, you can have everything you wanted. And then she's like, I know, but I can't want it, or I don't want it. I can't want it anymore. Like something has changed within me. Something's not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game. And so I almost feel like that can even speak to just like, there can be this exciting, almost blinding aspect of, I don't know, like fame, popularity, success, status, all those kinds of things that our culture really puts on a pedestal, right? And then it can make us disconnect from what really matters to us and what's really authentic to us. And so I was also kind of imagining a situation where, you know how when Alphaba decides to rebel and like leave the palace and kind of go on her own, she's like, come with me. She's saying that to Glinda, and Glinda is like, doesn't want to go because she's always wanted that. It's almost like maybe you shared a vision with someone at one point or something, and then it's almost like, because what this is making me think of is like a situation where maybe you had an authentic relationship with this person, or yeah, maybe with this person, and maybe you were like told by others that they're holding you back, or you know, they're the problem, like you need to disconnect from them, like they're actually the enemy kind of. And maybe you kind of turned on that person that you know deep down is authentically, like you do feel an authentic love for them, but maybe it's like to continue down with what you wanted to do, or what your dream was, or what your kind of, what you had already chosen, and what your like, it's almost like, think about how Glinda is so dedicated to kind of becoming more prominent within that world of like politics kind of, and like that's what she's always been dedicating her life to, like that's what she's invested in. And same with Alphaba though, they had, it's so interesting, they had the same kind of goal, but at some point Alphaba has this energy where they're like, it's not worth it, like this, it's like, if this is love, I guess it comes at much too high a cost. And that's that energy of like, I don't want all this burden on me. That's also an energy here too, where the 10 of Wands can sometimes speak to this energy where you kind of fight for something, and then maybe you get more responsibilities, or it's almost like the more success you get, or the more you kind of rise, the more responsibilities there are, and caveats, and all these things you have to manage, right? Like it's all, I'm always thinking about someone like rising to the top of like being a CEO or something like that. And it's like, yes, it could be a dream come true, but then it's also like comes with a lot of other things that you have to worry about. You know what I mean? And it almost is giving that energy of like, I don't really want this enough to, this isn't fulfilling, you know, like it's almost like realizing I feel caged in by this. And that's where I'm also getting the castle analogy, just to bring it up from the Kim Crans. Yeah, the castle. So we have the palace, the penthouse, the fortress. Also, that's where Alphaba and Glinda have that kind of like conversation, or the song is sung. But it says, it's no wonder fairy tales tell of sleeping princesses within castle walls. Like most archetypes, the castle is loaded with duality. It represents abundant riches, seductive fantasy, ornate wonders, and lavish adornments. Yet the walls are thick, cold, and shadowy. This card points to a tendency to hold on to possessions, quite possibly a literal home or position, that project the image of achievement, but the soul longs to run barefoot in the forest, leaving it all behind. At times we must settle down, yet the castle lulls us with its spells of materialism, and we fall asleep to our deepest dreams. Yeah, totally. The castle can be a motivating force, an enchanting goal to travel toward, but it is best not to linger within its walls of decadent deception for too long. And so when it's dark, it can be stuckness, depression, spells, and walls. Yeah, and I feel like this could be a family situation somehow, because this is talking about family dynamics that include property and power. And it also says, notice how castles are designed to keep things out. They separate, and is likely there's a connection and community beyond its walls that will revitalize you. And so I feel like there's an energy coming through from you where you may be kind of repressing this truth inside of you, because I feel, yeah, I'm sorry, but this is just what's coming through. And reverse the reading if you have to, but I just feel like this person is triggering for you because they are embracing a part of themselves that I think is also a part of you, where I feel like you may be triggered by this person, or, you know, prone to seeing them as wrong or bad, or, you know, the problem or something like that. Or you may want to see their path as having made the wrong decision, because there's a part of the same thing that they're not repressing it. They're actually integrating it and moving forward on their journey. I feel like there's this energy where you are resisting this because there's an attachment to what's been chosen or what was idealized and, you know, what comes with it. And it's just very similar to Glinda, where she's not at a place in her journey. And that could be the situation for you too, where you guys okay, this is also what I'm getting, is it's possible that, you are where you're meant to be. You know what I'm saying? But I was getting the Eight of Cups in reverse. It's also possible, sorry, this is what I'm getting. It's also possible that for this person, you may be feeling like them being happy on their path is almost like a threat to your chosen path. And there might be a message here that's saying your resistance to this person, or like this feeling that they're making the wrong decision for themselves, or that, you know, they almost have to be the enemy, I feel like doesn't have to be true, because I also feel like there's a possibility of having like a different destiny than this person. And it's possible that you don't need to feel, this person can make a decision that you wouldn't make, but that doesn't mean that it's a threat to your chosen path. Does that make sense? And so I'm wondering if your ego is feeling threatened by this person, because it's almost like maybe there's a fear that, or it might even just be a part of it, is almost like it might be threatening to you, because think about how there are a lot of responsibilities and a lot of things you might have to sacrifice to kind of, let's say, uphold some, like, let's say you get to some kind of position where there is like a lot of popularity or fame or something like that. A part of what makes it so appealing is that there's this feeling that everyone would want to be in that position. You know what I mean? And so there's kind of a superiority to it, in the sense of a part of its appeal is this feeling of everyone coveting you or envying you. And so I'm wondering if this person having maybe the same opportunity to go down a similar path to you, or to even be with you or something like that, and them choosing not to, it might be truly a threatened ego. Sorry, but like that's what I'm kind of getting. Does that make sense? And any feelings of, you know, feeling like this person has maybe I don't know, threatened you, or is something that's trying to oppose you. I don't think this person is at all rooting for things to not work out for you, or even trying to say that this is what everyone should choose. All this person is doing is picking their truth. And they don't, I don't know. Does that make sense? It almost feels like there's some sort of like, not like rivalry, but it's like we were on the same team. We valued the same things at one point, and now you're going rogue, and I can't help but continue to feel like whatever your new path is the problem. It's a threat to my perception and my way of seeing things. And I'm inclined to not want that path to work out, because I feel like also part of it is I feel like you miss this person, or you actually really do care for this person. And it's not like just out of a sadistic feeling of like, oh, I don't want that path to work out. I feel like you want this person with you. Like, I feel like you want this person to be next to you, or you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you actually have love for this person. And I think this person has love for you. But they are defensive right now. They are feeling like like other people kind of questioning, you know, what they believe in and what they value. It's like they're feeling like they have to defend and have boundaries up. And so if this person has boundaries up with you right now, it's because they would be open to a connection with you so long as they didn't feel like they have to constantly defend like their authenticity and like their beliefs. And like, I feel like this person doesn't want to have to feel like they're trying to be converted into seeing things a way that's not authentic to them. Does that make sense? Yeah. I'm trying to think of other stories where this happens, but I feel like this is kind of a common like theme in like archetypes and stories, where there's like sisters, or there's family, or there's like two like best friends that originally really were on the same team in a sense, or had the same beliefs, and then someone kind of verges off. And that can feel really difficult. But anyways, how else is this person feeling? Am I even recording? Yes. How else is this person feeling towards pile number 2? We have the 2 of Swords and the 2 of Pentacles. Yeah. So there's a lot here about each of you maybe deciding what you value or what you want to prioritize and how you want to kind of make those decisions. But I do feel here like, I feel like this person feels that they don't want to have to maybe push you away or have boundaries up towards you. But they also don't want to be unhappy. You know what I mean? Or just kind of, do something that doesn't make them happy and kind of, conform to like a system that doesn't feel right to them anymore. So that's kind of how they're feeling. It's like they know in themselves what they want, and I feel like they are going to be moving toward that. But there is also this message around like, this isn't an easy choice for them. And like, they feel like they're in a rock and a hard place, where, and so I don't know if what I was saying in the beginning was right. And so for some of you that are like, you know what, and maybe what I was kind of projecting onto you, maybe this person, maybe there's a little bit of a struggle between the 2 of you where, because this person has maybe realized that they want something different or want to go down a different path, there might be part of them that's trying to convert you to seeing things their way. You know what I'm saying? So, I feel like they're almost having you guys are just having differing viewpoints now. And there's almost this like collision of like perspectives, does that make sense? And so I feel like that's what's happening, where maybe this person is kind of now viewing you like, and you know the truth. Here's the thing. I don't want to tell you what your truth is, because if you are actually really happy with the path that you've gone down, this person can learn to accept that as well. Does that make sense? And so I feel like it's almost like you guys are in the same situation where it's like, okay, like I want this relationship. I want this companion or this, like, I feel like you guys have this, like, you want to be loyal to each other, but it's like, you guys are differing. You guys are going down different paths, and maybe, you can't go with this person, or maybe you don't want to go with this person, and this person doesn't want to stay, doesn't want to, they're not going to stay. Yeah, it's sad because it's almost like each of you are in the same position where maybe you would have to sacrifice your truth or what makes you happy to keep the bond. Does that make sense? So like, for example, if you were to go with this person down this path, maybe that wouldn't feel right to you because that isn't what you actually want at this point. And the same thing with this person, like they want the connection, they want the bond, but they aren't going to, they don't, it does that make sense? Rock and hard place where it's like, neither situation is great, but you kind of have to choose. It's like, you have to choose with your intuition. Yeah. So that's what I'm seeing. For the extended reading, I do want to see, I guess, I don't know if I'm curious now. I guess I want to know if you, like, what your guidance is from spirit. Like, what is your heart trying to tell you? That's what I want to say. What does your heart want you to tell you? You know what I mean? And maybe help you figure out the situation, especially if it's like kind of hurting you, because it's like, maybe there's a part of you that just wants, because I feel like you are also conflicted, where I feel like your heart may love this person, but it may not, so maybe kind of having a negative opinion of this person doesn't feel right to you, or like being harmful to them doesn't feel right. Or wanting them to fail doesn't feel right. Does that make sense? Because I think there is genuine love here. And so I just want to see like what your heart is telling you. And maybe I can help you kind of broaden your perspective of the situation to see how we can create more harmony here, because and so I want to see what you truly want when it comes to this person. What does your heart want when it comes to this connection? I want to see what this person's what their heart wants when it comes to you, specifically you as a person. And then I want to see what you can do to bridge the gap here. Or if it comes through that your heart doesn't, I know, I just can't stop feeling like there is this genuine bond that you have, but it's giving like, I don't know if this is a love situation, it's like star-crossed lovers, or like just a situation, or like Romeo and Juliet, where it's like there's two different, it's like there's this true bond, but it's like it goes beyond all form. It's very like energetic and soulful. So it's hard sometimes to create it in the 3D, because it's like we're so much more divided here, you know? But I wonder if this is a call to leveling up in a sense, or being able to allow for more diversity, or to allow for more acceptance. So it's almost like, instead of building walls, you know, learning to maybe keep your own wall, but like maybe having a door that this person can come through, you know what I mean? So I just want to give you guys guidance on how to resolve this, or what the best path forward is for this connection. I want to see, let's see that. What's the best path forward for you personally? And then what's the best path forward for this connection? So yeah, so overall, I want to see what each of your guys' heart really wants for this connection. What's the best path forward for you individually, and then also for the connection. So you know what? I'm even going to do it from both perspectives, because some of you guys may be this person's energy. So I'm going to look at it from both sides in the extended. So thank you so much for being here. I know that was kind of a reading that had a lot of analogy. I'm actually not sorry about it. I just feel, I know some people may want things to just be straightforward, like textbook, but you know, if you are coming here for, you know, intuitive, like to receive help from sort of the intuitive realm, like I feel like there is a need to kind of understand that this is how it functions, and it's not like information that's, you know, it's not like reading Wikipedia. It's like, this is an art. So hopefully you guys can respect that. But anyways, if you found this helpful, if you're able to hit the like button, leave a comment, thank you so much. I'd be very curious about the situation too, like what is going on. Yeah, I'm also being called to say that there's a lot of minor arcana here, and so it makes me feel like this could just be like a transitioning situation, or a phase of connection that you're going through with this person. Yeah, and sorry, I'm also getting that it's possible that maybe you really do like your Ferrari, but maybe you feel guilty for that on some level, or like maybe you do really like your Ferrari, but a person you love like thinks it's stupid or something, and like they want to drive a Subaru and that's what they're choosing, and it's like maybe there's a party that's questioning if you've made the wrong decision, because this person, even though everyone is, you know, on supporting it, and like you have everyone else's support, but like I feel like this is someone's opinion that you actually care about, and it's a connection you really care about. And so does that make sense? So I feel like there could be misunderstanding here, and I just want to help you kind of process that, I guess. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna stop kind of rambling on, but yeah, don't forget to subscribe before you head out, and I will see some of you at the extended. Hello, pal number 3. Welcome to your reading. If you chose the Paws Tarot and this Amazonite crystal, this is going to be your reading, where we're going to be looking at your person's thoughts and feelings toward you. I do want to make a shift where, you know, these don't have to be love readings. I'm opening this up to any person that you're really thinking a lot about. I may, if it's coming through very romantically, I'm going to speak that way. But if you're always just take what resonates, and understand that energies can move across. There can be a similar energy, not in a weird way, but like there can be similar patterns and attachments and things like that in platonic and romantic connections, or whatever kind of connection. So just wanted to say that. So we're going to start off with an energy check-in. We're going to see how you are viewing this person. this connection, what your thoughts and feelings are toward them. And this is meant to help confirm that this is the right pile for you. If this part just doesn't make any sense, it's definitely not your reading. There should be just a flow to it where it sounds like your situation or something that you've been thinking. And yeah, if it doesn't resonate, I would check out another pile. But definitely don't force any messages that just don't feel helpful, or if they bring more confusion or fear. You know, it's probably not helpful to take on the messages. So, okay, Spirit, please tune me into pile number 3's energy. What are their thoughts and feelings and perspective of this person that we're going to be tuning into? How will they know that this is their reading? Spirit, pile number 3's perspective of this connection. Person. We have the Knight of Cups in reverse. Just gonna make sure. Okay. We have the Six of Swords. Okay, we have the Two of Cups in reverse. We have the Ace of Swords in reverse, the Hierophant here. So, okay, this is definitely a connection where there's history. I feel like this is someone that you maybe have had a separation with, or this could be an ex or like a past situationship. With the Knight of Cups in reverse coming out first, I'm immediately getting the vibe of you feeling like this person maybe kind of took you for a ride, or wasn't really, like they may have been very charming or kind of made a lot of romantic gestures or kind of wooed you in a sense. But with it being in reverse, it can be someone who kind of, I'm getting like brown noser, like someone that can be very smooth or charming, but you know, they aren't maybe the most honest, or it's almost like you can't really trust this person. Yeah, if that makes sense. It almost feels like there's an agenda with, or it almost actually feels like you aren't really sure. With the Ace of Swords in reverse, I feel like this person maybe left you with a lack of clarity. I feel like you maybe felt like you've come to realize that this person, you guys aren't in alignment with this person. Like that's how you feel. You feel like you don't share the same values with them. And like it's something that you've just had to leave in the past, you know? The Ace of Swords in reverse, it could also be this feeling of realizing that you didn't see this person clearly, or that that it's almost like maybe you didn't see to what degree this person maybe gave you this image of being this like perfect partner, or you know, maybe gave you an indication of sharing your values, sharing what you want for the future, maybe even like something around commitment. And it just feels like the way that you are in relationships is very different than this person. But they may have come off originally in a way that kind of swept you off your feet or something like that. So it definitely feels like you're in this process of moving forward from something difficult though. And I feel like the difficulty is around the confusion of who this person is and what this connection really was in a sense. So can we clarify the Knight of Cups? Yeah, the Seven of Cups. There's a lot of illusion here. It's like this person, I feel like, King of Cups in reverse. Wow. And the Star in reverse. I feel like this is someone who can maybe, look at the little butt. That's so cute. I don't know if I'm allowed to have that up, but they're not emotionally honest, or it's almost like they can paint a vision. It's kind of giving Neptune energy, where there's a lot of illusion and things are too good to be true. And they kind of, there's this fantasy element of this person. Like, I feel like this person maybe I don't know the right words for it, but I feel like you guys know what I'm saying. It's almost just like what I was saying before, is that this is someone who maybe it's like a love bombing energy, where you kind of are in this haze. This is giving like that energy where it's like you just kind of get swept up, and it's really enticing, and it's almost like you can't see clearly. It's almost like your mind was, what's coming through the song Decode by Paramore, and that song talks about like, how can I know what's right when you're clouding up my mind? I'll figure this one out on my own. And it's kind of like this feeling of trying to figure out who this person is, or like and it says something like, what kind of man that you are, if you're a man at all. I'll figure this one out, and so it just feels like, oh yeah. And then the song says, I used to know you so well. And so it's kind of alluding to that sense of illusion, or like thinking that you knew this person, to feel so confused about where it is now, or to kind of recognize that there was a lot of illusion, or things that weren't really honest or grounded in reality. Like you didn't have the truth, is what it feels like. What else? Yeah, Knight of Wands in reverse. I feel like this could be kind of like a player type of energy. Yeah, we have Judgment coming through. And like you could kind of be on your own right now. Because I feel like things haven't been able to move forward with the Chariot. Like I feel like there's been a lot of blockages in this. And I feel like you've kind of on your own had to figure out like what the truth of the situation is, and why it didn't move forward, or why things didn't add up. But yeah, with the Knight of Wands in reverse, it's like this person could be very in and out, or yeah, it's like it's hard to pin this person down, or it's hard to this is like a flighty kind of an energy, or an energy that it's not stable, it's not grounded really. We also have Taurus energy here, but it's like in the reverse position. What else? For pile number 3, how did they view this person? Thoughts and feelings. We clarify the Two of Cups in reverse, the Ace of Swords, the Ace of Cups. Yeah, and I feel like, yeah, Six of Cups in reverse. There's kind of a heavy feeling here because, yeah, I feel like you have like nostalgia towards this person, or like there's almost, maybe this person mirrors some like childhood, like it feels like this is kind of like a karmic, I don't actually want to say that. I just feel like this is this energy where it feels like a soulmate. But it somehow, it kind of brings up patterns from the past. But yeah, with the Ace of Cups here, I feel like you have a lot of love for this person. So maybe that's why it's so confusing. Like, because I feel like you feel like there is this love here. Can we clarify the Hierophant? Yeah, we have Justice in reverse. 8 of Cups in reverse here too. Libra energy. Yeah, so it just feels like there's several. Oh, you know what I'm hearing? That Boy Is Corrupt. That song. Sabrina Carpenter. I don't even know the rest of the words. But yeah, I'm just getting with Justice and Hierophant in reverse. This feels like broken promises, or this energy of like upright. This would really feel like marriage and commitment to me, and like partnership with Justice here, because it's Libra, and it just feels like fairness and following the rules and commitment, and like, having a ethical or moral code that you move with. And it feels like with this person, yeah, I'm hearing like corrupt. Like I feel like you feel like this person is kind of corrupt, or like they don't treat relationships fairly, it feels like. Yeah, it just feels like they've broken their promises, or they haven't they haven't lived up to some kind of like standard that you value. And 8 of Cups in reverse here, maybe this is like something that's hard to fully walk away from, because I do feel like there is love, but I feel like you're in this process of just kind of recognizing, yeah, 2 of Swords. There's this confusion. There's still this level of confusion, because I feel like this person like maybe doesn't give you clarity, or it's almost like you're in this state of maybe not knowing if it's over, not knowing if this is going to come around, or what's going to happen kind of. But like with the 10 of Swords, it's almost like, should I just is this situation where we just have to walk away, we just have to let it end. Maybe there's a part of you that doesn't want to do that, even though you see all of this. It's like, it's almost interesting because you do see that you see the situation. Maybe you don't know the underlying truths, but you know that you're not this person. There's a lack of truth around, lack of clarity around this person, and like who they are and why they do the things they do, what their true feelings are, you know, stuff like that. So I guess that's what we're here to do anyways. So all right, so what are this person's honest thoughts and feelings? Sorry, I just want to make sure. I was just, it's almost like this fear that I'm not filming like all the time. Where's my water? You get my water 1 second. Wow, so this is actually super relevant. By the way, just like if you guys are ever curious, like when I hear songs, like that is just almost one of the biggest confirmations that, because it comes through so not from my own mind, that I just know that it just is something that helps me stay on track. And so every time, like I haven't listened to the song or anything, but I'll put it into Google and I'll just say the lyric meaning, and it always reveals something about like the situation for clarity. So I'm just reading this and it says, even though the guy's singing in it, I feel like this is more of your energy. So it says, uses the Greek goddess of love to explore a relationship with someone who seems beautiful and otherworldly, but is actually selfish and deceptive. The lyrics suggest a sense of betrayal, with the singer realizing the person's outward appearance is a facade and that they may be unfaithful or indecisive. So the theme of superficial beauty versus underlying reality, and that's that Neptunian energy. So superficial versus genuine. Yeah, and so there's kind of this vibe of, with the Knight of Cups in reverse, being charming or appealing. Yeah, so it says the song contrasts the subject's alluring appearance with her perceived selfish and misleading nature. Like that's this person though. So it says betrayal. The lyrics convey a sense of being deceived and realizing the relationship may not be what it seemed. Yeah. Yeah, and something around indecisiveness and unfaithfulness. Like, so it says the song explores the possibility that the subject is indecisive or unfaithful. Lyrics like, if I'd known you sold on, maybe suggesting she's not fully committed. Yes, there's a lot also about like commitment. Oh, and it says if he knew she wasn't going to be serious about him, he wishes she, I think it's going to say like she just told him. Yeah, so you may feel like your time was kind of wasted here. So I literally, like, this is how the channeling can work. I just, like, this caught my eye on Reddit, but it's saying if he knew she wasn't going to be serious about him, he wishes she would have just wasted some other guy's time. But it's kind of reverse here. Like, I feel like there's this vibe of, like, feeling almost like maybe, like, played or, like, a victim, kind of like, why did you, like, feeling like your time has been wasted because there was a lack of clarity and there was a lot of illusion and this person wasn't genuine. You know, I feel like this person may be very good at, like, good with their words or good with creating a vibe, you know, or because it just feels like they have this projection energy where it almost puts people like in a haze, or maybe they're good at telling people what they want to hear or good at presenting themselves in a way that gives the appearance of something, but if you dig deeper, it's actually not real. You know, it's kind of like it's kind of siren-like, actually. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so what is this person's, though, like, honest thoughts and feelings towards you? Because that's like your perception. So let's get into it, though. I mean, you're probably right, or maybe right. We'll see. That's the point of this. Okay. What are this person's honest thoughts and feelings towards pile number 3? Please help us get clarity around the truth of the situation. Please tune me into pile number 3's person's energy, the truth of their energy. What are their honest thoughts and feelings? Literally the Knight of Cups in reverse. Wow. The Four of Cups in reverse. Yeah, the Magician in reverse. Wow. 10 of Wands in reverse. What I'm getting here, I feel like this person is good at like saying what they need to say or presenting themselves in a way where it's almost like they know this person will have an awareness of what someone wouldn't be interested in. And I feel like they intentionally hide certain aspects of themselves or like what they're offering or what they want almost. Like, yeah, this is what they do. They are good at reading people, and they almost use this like shapeshifter energy or like this people pleasing in kind of a manipulative way where they can use it to mimic another person's like values or kind of be something that they want. I feel like they're good at making themselves seem appealing. But there's this vibe of them not actually, it's a facade, or it's kind of like with the Magician in reverse, when the Magician is in reverse, there's a feeling of using manipulation or a trick, you know what I mean? Like a sleight of hand to maybe, sorry, my dog is starting to bark, but it's this vibe of knowing how to approach situations where people are interested and like they don't get rejected, but there's this feeling that they're trying to get the opportunity with people without them actually knowing what they're getting into. Does that make sense? It's almost like if you knew the truth or they were honest about, what they're really offering you, you would say no. And so this person is aware of that. And with the 10 of Wands, though, there's this feeling of doing this so they can kind of get what they want without the burden of the responsibility of truly embodying those things, I'm curious to get more. Yeah. And with the 5 of Swords here, I feel like there's this underlying like selfishness with this person where they don't really care if they kind of leave someone out in the cold or like their actions. There can be this vibe of only thinking about themselves. You know what I mean? What else? Can we clarify the Knight of Cups? What are this person's honest thoughts and feelings? We have the 4 of Swords. The 7 of Pentacles in reverse. Wow, this is like honestly kind of annoying. Like, sorry, I'm going to try to keep my own judgment out of it, but like I'm just getting a bad feeling or like a irritation where it's like this person, wow. There's this vibe of them not wanting to have to do any work. There's a laziness coming through. What's interesting? I almost feel like there's this vibe with them in the beginning where they present an offer or they come across in a way that is appealing to people. And it's like they can kind of seem like they have a lot to offer. But then I almost feel like when it comes down to it, though, what they're mainly interested in is almost like getting people into situations where they do all the work. I feel like this person likes to put the work in other people's hands, or it's almost like, this is so crazy. It's almost like they get people attached or interested, and then they flip into this like feminine energy that's very kind of like entitled. Like it's giving princess. Like I feel like, especially if this is like a male, I feel like this is like maybe surprising in a sense, but there's this energy of this person wanting princess treatment. It's reminding me of if any of you guys watch Love Island, in the Love Island games, like the most recent one, I'm thinking about how I can't remember, but like the girl that's like, I think it's like Lucinda or something like that. That's what her name kind of sounds like. She's super beautiful. Honestly, like looks like a Victoria's Secret model, not gonna lie. And then there's this like guy that's like definitely attractive. And if you guys have seen it, you'll know who I'm talking about. But like he's foreign. And like when he first sees her, he's like so enamored and kind of like puts the charm on her. And then as soon as he kind of gets her, or they're like coupled up, he like doesn't want to do anything for her. And in like Love Island, if you haven't watched it, it's like there's kind of like a ritual where sorry, one second, where the guys kind of show their interest and create strength in their relationships by like making food for the person and like bringing it up to them and kind of just maybe planning something special or you know what I mean? Just doing little acts of service or showing affection in some way to kind of secure the bond. You know what I mean? It's like if you're interested. And so the guy, though, like this girl's obviously like probably used to, you know, people chasing them. Like she's like just unreal. And like she has a good personality too. And so I just feel like she's, and like there's this conversation between like, she's not satisfied with the level that the guys, like the guys for some reason not bringing her breakfast when every other guy is doing it for their girl. And but like the relationship's fine, and it's kind of like this weird thing where it's like that's kind of like it kind of sending a message, you know what I mean? But then there's this conversation that the guy has with another guy, and like someone else, his name is Kendall, like talks to him and goes, she is not the type of girl that is gonna chase you, or you know what I mean? Like she's like high value, like you can't. And then he's like, well, why doesn't she do these things for me? And it's like he wanted the princess treatment, you know what I mean? And that's what's coming through right now is this vibe of like almost like this person feeling like they're the prize, or but I don't think this person actually like, I don't know, there could be some level of narcissism, but it almost feels like it's almost like they use their initial ability to like get someone to not reject them. So like, does that make sense? It's almost like they do that as like a confidence booster, like that it's mainly about themselves. That's what it's feeling like. It's feeling like this person like almost gets an ego boost from having people accept their offer, like be initially interested in them. But that's kind of all they're doing. And so then when it comes to actually the other person's needs or, you know, following through and developing the relationship, this person like can't lift a finger. Like that's how it feels. And they even kind of have this like childish, like there's this strong flip-flop in this person's energy where it's like, I can see why it's confusing because yeah, it's giving love bomb discard, where like you love bomb someone and then you're just like kind of, as soon as like the thrill or like whatever you were, just because it was for an ego boost, it's almost like there's a contemptuous energy here. And so it's almost like if you have ever like expected this person to kind of follow through, or like you held them to some kind of standard because they made it seem like that's what they're interested in, it's almost like they feel contemptuous about that. Like they feel resentment, you know, toward any expectation of them. You know, it's almost like they're like, yeah, that it's kind of a wild attitude, but that's what's coming through. What else what's this person's honest thoughts? Yeah, there's this laziness of like, don't disturb my peace. Like, you know what I mean? It's almost like this person almost requires others. Yeah, this is giving narcissism because it's like this person requires others to not have any needs or boundaries themselves. Like it's almost like you have to merge with this is giving narcissistic fantasy, where like this person, anything you do that challenges their own narcissistic fantasy about themselves is a no-no. You know what I mean? Like, but it's, yeah. Does that make sense? This is someone that's not really fit for relationships because they're narcissistic. I mean, I'm not diagnosing. I'm just saying that that's the vibe that's coming through. Okay, what else? What are this person's honest thoughts and feelings? With the Three of Pentacles. Yeah, it's like they create this, you know what this feels like? This feels like someone who, oh my God, it's exactly like this. It's like, imagine or like in any school setting or even work, like but more like school, you know, in school when they're like, okay, you get to choose your own partners for like a project. Imagine someone like showing a lot of interest in you and like kind of like hyping up like the whole plan, you know what I mean? And like, you know, like they're super on board and you guys have the same vision. And then it's like you guys wrote down each other's names. And so now you guys are like teamed up. And then the second that it's kind of written in stone or like you guys are already partners, they literally do nothing. Like it's like they're like, okay, yeah. And then it's kind of like this vibe of not even addressing it. There's a strong entitlement here of there's this vibe of almost enjoying, it's giving like royalty. Like this person almost feels this entitlement and like this sense of like not even having to address, like, it's so obviously unfair the way that this person can be. Yeah, they can give this image of, you know, someone that wants to contribute, but they actually have they're not going to do that. Does that make sense? It's like, it's really giving, like, not responding. Like, imagine like a partner, you know, in school, and it's like, you guys like have to get together and like do something for the thing, and like they're just literally not responding. And it's like crazy of them to just not respond, because it's like the things due, like, you know what I mean? And it's almost like then the last second they're like, wait, what? And like they kind of don't address the fact that they've really screwed someone over. You know what I mean? And they almost see like, and then imagine someone being panicked and kind of like mad at them. And then they're like, what's wrong with you? Like, what? Like, then they feel the right to almost feel like resentful, or like, you know what I mean? It's almost like then they flip it on the other person, like it's the other person's fault. So yeah, that's a lot of narcissism here. So, I mean, that's pretty much describing it. But what else? Yeah, 10 of Pentacles in reverse. 7 of Wands. Yeah, this is like someone who, it's giving that they can't lift a finger. Like, 7 of Wands, because sometimes the 7 of Wands in reverse can be an energy where you don't really push for what you want, or like you don't really like stand true to your values. Like, this is someone who doesn't stand true to their values. Does that make sense? It's almost like they can flip-flop immediately. Like, they don't actually play. Like, the second, it's almost like this fluidity or this like shapeshifter kind of an energy where they can easily change their side or change like what their values are to suit them in the moment. And like, they don't push for what they want. You know what I mean? Like, there's this feeling of, I'm not going to take action for what I want, but I still feel like this is teamwork somehow. I still feel like we should partner up. So yeah, this is kind of crazy. Like, I just feel like there's an extreme sense of entitlement, and like this vibe of putting all of the work toward you, and them really not doing anything to help achieve a long-term foundation with you. You know what I mean? The 10 of Pentacles in reverse. It's like, this isn't going to build itself, is kind of what I'm getting. And this person kind of has that mentality of like, if I just don't do it, like someone else will. So yeah, I'm going to do an extended reading. I want to see like what this person wants from you, or like what are they wanting? You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm trying to think about what else I want to go into. I definitely want to get you guys like a lot of guidance on, you know, how to move forward, like what you really need to know, to kind of protect your energy, or how to interpret this person. I kind of want to go into like, what would this person say to you if they were actually completely honest and had no kind of charm to them? Like, let's say that they like kind of let their mask drop, what would they actually say to you? And I kind of just want to expose that. But let's get some more oracle cards. I feel like this person can also get like bored really easily. You know what I mean? Or it's almost like this person expects other people to like work to keep their attention, or to keep the relationship with them. Like, they, you know what I mean? They almost create this dynamic like that, where I feel like this person also can withdraw attention, and not feel bad about it. It's almost like there's this sense of royalty that they're acting like, you know what I mean? Like, they're acting like they have the right to be like this, to be, it's giving diva. Like, if this is the man, this is like a diva princess. Like, I don't even know. This person may not even, sorry, this message is coming through, so I just got to say it, but I'm getting like DL energy potentially with this person. But that's not for everyone. All right. What is this person's honest thoughts and feelings? Yeah, yin. They're in their princess energy. They're in their feminine. They're like, bring it to me. Like, this person just wants to receive. Like, that's how they feel. They feel like they want to know what they can kind of get out of a situation. I do feel like they see you as someone, though, that like is someone good to partner up with. Like, they feel like you are reliable and you will get things done. Like, to bring more attention to you. Like, they almost just feel like, it's almost this vibe of like contributing like a couple of sentences and then putting your name on the project. You know what I mean? It's like they're interested in you for a reason because they see you as very capable, or they see you as someone who they can rely on and someone that is going to follow through. And I feel like they kind of take that for granted, is the feeling here. Yeah, we have a leg up. Like, yes, like, and clean it up here too. It's almost this vibe of this person expecting other people. Yeah, I'm going to take that because it's like the clean it up in reverse is about putting all of your burdens on someone else's plate and kind of expecting other people to do the work or clean up your messes or take on responsibilities for you. And a leg up here is really about just for the situation, like they want a ride on your back. Like they want to catch a ride with you. Does that make sense? It's almost like no, sorry, my dog is crying. It's not time yet, okay? Not time yet. Not time yet. Yes. But yeah, with a leg up, I feel this is someone who always likes to receive the support, or it's almost like they want a free ride. They want this could be a social climber, or like kind of like that, or they may even seek out, yeah, like people that they see as very strong that they can rely on. So then they don't have to protect themselves, you know, like they maybe even act like they're the victim, or like they're helpless in some sense, or just, but it's more coming through like this person wouldn't admit that. It's almost like this bratty kind of vibe, but like it might be hidden though. You know what I mean? So that it might not like, but this might explain why this person maybe is like not responding sometimes, or like, you know, they just blatantly kind of don't like look at it's almost like they aren't really looking at your needs or tending to you at all. And it's because of this. It's like they don't think anything is their responsibility. We have chaos and conflict here. I feel like this is someone who wants you to fight their battles for them. And this could be someone also that kind of creates maybe a lot of chaos in situations and creates conflict and then puts their hands up like they did nothing. You know what I mean? Or like this could be someone that kind of stirs the pot and then kind of watches the chaos unfold. Like there's a little bit of like a what is this like? I don't even know the right word for it, but there's just this feeling of playing puppet. You know what this is reminding me of? The movie, is it Emily or Anne? But it's this, what is it? It has the girl from Queen's Gambit, and Anya Taylor-Joy. I hope I'm saying that right. But it's essentially like this very privileged person that like kind of doesn't realize that they're not contributing anything, or they're not like, I don't even know. But there's kind of just this like entitled like, I'm not someone who should have to get dirty or get my finger, you know what I mean? Like I shouldn't be the one doing hard work. I shouldn't be the one facing challenges. Like I shouldn't be the one you know, like there's this feeling here of like feeling above certain things, you know what I mean? Feeling like, for example, like you ask this person like wash the dishes, it almost feels like they feel like that's beneath them, and they just automatically kind of feel like other people should do stuff for them, or like, you know, they don't take any responsibility for the issues that they create. And they just kind of stay out of it. They're like, I'm not gonna, it's like this is someone who doesn't worry themselves at all, or feels no responsibility to like mend situations or like create progress towards a goal. Does that make sense? It's almost like conflict is too much energy for them. Does that make sense? Where it's almost like they feel above it. Like they just feel above getting their hands dirty, or just kind of like actually doing work, or actually dedicating themselves to something. Like it feels like this is someone who doesn't have the patience or the drive to really, you know, master something. And in that movie too, is it Emily? What is it? Anne or Emily? I'm going to look it up. Anne or Emily, Anya Taylor-Joy. Movie. Emma. So it's called Emma, and it says well-meaning but selfish young lady. So, why was I going to talk about that again? I can't remember, but that movie is just very relevant, and her kind of like personality is kind of like this person. Even if this is a man, you guys, like, yeah. Anyways, that's what I'm getting. So for the extended, let's look at what this person would say if they didn't have their facade on, or like, let's say that, like, let's take this person's mask off. Let's do a mask drop and see what they would admit to or what they would actually say. Because I want to reveal like what kind of truths they haven't really told you, or like, I also want to look at like what illusion did this person allow you, like what did they try to get you to see them as, and then what is the truth underlying that, and what would they say, and then guidance for you. So I'll have that link down below. I'll have the Vimeo links and the Gumroad. So for some of you that just have trouble with Vimeo, Vimeo works for me, but I don't know. I know some people have trouble with it. So if you need a different way of accessing it, you can do the Gumroad link, which is going to just be right underneath it. Other than that, if you want a personal reading, I have my readings open. That's linked in the description box. But yeah, if you found this helpful, if you're able to hit the like button, leave a comment. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this reading, whatever you guys are going through. I do enjoy hearing that. And make sure you subscribe before you head out. And other than that, it's been great to read for you. And I hope to connect with you again soon.